Welcome to the third in our CBC OEI Improving Online CTE Pathways Speakers Series. This one on various technologies, so I'm looking forward to this. For those of you who do not know, the IOP grant, Improving Online CTE Pathways grant, was provided to 70 colleges in our California community college system, 68 technically. Two colleges have two projects, for a total of $27.5 million awarded, and this is all since July 1st, 2019. This funding came from the California taxpayers by way of the state legislature and our California Community Colleges Chancellor's Office to develop and support online programs moving hybrid, moving online in two general categories. One, to provide short-term industry valued certificates or credentials online, and or to enable pathways from our California online community college, CalBrite, to the other 115 colleges and their programs for larger degrees. We have 4 colleges today who will have 5 minutes each to present on what they've been doing for their grant in various categories. So I would like to start with Brad at Cuyamaca. Take it away. Oh, you're on mute there,
okay,
Brad.
are you allowing screen sharing, or do I? Okay, great. Okay. Hi, my name is Brad McCombs. I'm faculty at Cuyamaca College. I'm excited to be here to talk to you today. I'm lucky that our college supports innovation and student equity. And I know that this grant does the same. So I'm grateful for the grantors, for the California taxpayer, and for everybody involved in this grant. It's been really an exciting and fun, excellent project. So I go next slide, I guess. Okay, there's a training gap problem in California. We identified that by a few years ago when we were trying to train students from El Centro, which is around 100 miles from San Diego East. Spanish is the primary language, right? And we actually were able to use a pilot project and train some students from El Centro. Ford National Training Certificate shows that there's a shortage of certified, not just certified, but competent technicians. So the training gap exists mostly from geography. So distance education was our solution to solve the geology gap. Next slide. Through this collaboration, we can see those are colleges on the right with automotive training programs and dealerships just from Ford Motor Company on the left. So you can look and see how our resources, our facilities on the ground actually model like where we need to employ students. Through our collaboration with Ford, we were able to start a new program called Ford Automotive Career Exploration with 40 high schools, 15 of those and 15 colleges, and over 500 across the nation actually, and deliver just in California over 20,000 training modules, and then place around 40 high school students in training programs this year. Next slide. Our training program, we have kind of established a community of practice using Canvas, surprisingly, as our basis for developed a home course, a Canvas home course. We actually place Ford managers and technicians and students, mentors in the same LMS. Next slide. So students can take traditional courses at our college. We've created these new colleges, and they can actually, we've separated lab from lecture, and we've created a separate assessment for each course. That's a separate class they can take, so they can actually take what they need to take when they need to take it. We can offer every course every semester, and students can use Canvas again to schedule their laboratory time, so that that eliminates like this waiting. You used to have to wait 2 years to take a class sometimes in our program. Next slide. In our classroom, we have embedded microphones in the ceilings, and we have a blended classroom where students are logging in from the dealerships and collaborating and talking to students. They're in the classroom and they're sharing actual real world repairs using Zoom web-based conferencing. Next slide. And here's an example of our test. I know we only have 2 minutes left here. And I don't know if we want to go to minute 37 or if I just want to, if you go to, or just, you know, but basically I can just tell you that we can like take this student and assess this student and performing actual repairs. And I'm at like, if you go to like minute 37.26. So this is just using Zoom, right? And then just.
So it doesn't give you exhaust pressure. So what you could do then, okay, so let's say, okay, so we know we've got all these codes. All right, okay. But first thing is like, prioritize this whole thing.
Okay, so that's good enough to show you, but we can actually have them actually do things on cars that are broken or actually cars that don't have problems, like baselining things. And then next slide. You have to kind of switch screens, go back. Yeah, there you go. And then we have like a lot of other assets, training videos, how to register, on and on. So that's my total presentation. Thank you very much for letting me deliver it to you today.
Thank you, Brad. Now we hand off to College of Alameda to talk about their aviation maintenance program. Hoy? You could be muted.
Yeah, I am.
There you
All right. Hi, my name is Hoiko, and I'm the department chair for the College of Alameda, the AMT program. Just to give you a quick overview as to what we do. We are a FAA certified mechanic training school. In other words, the student that we train can become a federal FAA certified aircraft technicians that they could work on any plane, not only in the United States, but also in other parts of the world as well. So right now, can we go to the first slide? Right now, if we were to look at let's go to the next slide, please. Thank you. All right. If we were to look at the overall, although there's a COVID situation right now, Boeing is still projecting over 739,000 new technician opening in the next 20 years. And in the US alone, it's over 56,000 mechanics needed. So now, why do we look at the development of a AET, which is the Aviation Electronic Technicians the certification? Well, first of all, what motivated us to do this was this. Traditionally, training aircraft mechanic is a hands-on type of job. Like schools, you have to learn how to use your hand. But until recently, the FAA has opened up to online training as part of the solution, especially during this COVID time. So the FAA said, well, you could do hybrid. Then I look around and look at all these positions and look at the technical development of the aircraft manufacturer. You heard of fly-by-wires and everything else. Now airplanes now basically are flying by the computers. They're using 3 to 4 master computer to fly the aircraft. In other words, you don't really need a pilot in there. You just have to press a button and it will go, and it will even land by itself. So if we look at that, and what we are really short of, especially in the FAA setting, is this. Say the FAA has been very traditional. That means they don't believe in a lot of, they don't believe in training the technicians in advanced electronics or anything advanced because it's opposed by the industry because it costs them too much for training. So now we have this big gap. We have all these new airplanes coming out, but a lot of the current technicians, as well as the entry-level technicians, don't have that necessary skill to become effective working on this new airplane. So the learning curve becomes very steep when they enter, after they have entered the industry. So what we did was we want to develop a program in which they could learn about the requirement to be an AET technician as on their own, either by, is facilitated by the instructor, of course. So what we want to do is enable them to go to the next level. In other words, for the current technicians that are already working with over 30 years of experience, they are being laid off because they don't have the necessary skill. As well as for the entry-level technicians, they go in there, but they cannot get into the avionics side of things. So that's our purpose. We want to do something for the mass majority, for the people who are already in the industry, as well as the one that cater to what we need to do. So can we go to the next slide? All right, thank you. So what the CVC OEI grant came just the right time, because we needed to develop something, but we don't have the resource, or nor do we have the skill to do that. So the OEI grant allow us to utilize that money to work and develop a program that will actually work. So that will integrate that, it will integrate that part into our program. Now, go to the last slide. Thank you. So what we want to do is that we want to help the individuals to become certified under ASTM. And then what we want to do in the future, go to the next slide. Thank you. We want to develop a program, a certificated program that could mainstream into our existing technician training program, so that the student not only can get their normal aircraft technician certificate, but they will also get an additional rating in avionics to get them ready for employment. And that is really the job of the future. That's it.
Thank you, Hoy. I appreciate that. Again, if you have any questions, type them in the chat or save them for the end. And we hope to have some open time then to have open Q&A. Our third presentation from College of the Desert with an HVAC and construction program. George Brown, you're up.
Hey, how you doing? This is George. And I have to apologize in advance. On the way home from a meeting, I broke down. So I'm on the side of the road right now. But if you don't mind, I can't do the formal presentation, but I can talk about the program and explain what we're doing, if that works for y'all.
Sure, go right ahead.
So basically, I'm part of the main program we have is a VESP, and some of the parts of the program, we've created some distant education pieces. So we have, for our ESIS, our energy systems portion of it, we have our ESIS courses, and then we also have our BIT, building inspection technology. And one of the big ones that we did there was the Title 24. And the benefits that we're seeing from it is not only can the students take it without being at the campus, but they can, we have instructors that are top-notch instructors that are teaching from up in Sacramento area, and our program's down here in the desert. So, so he's teaching the codes and things of that sort. We also are starting the ESIS modeling courses for energy modeling, and those courses have not been launched yet, but they're supposed to be this following semester. So we're going to have those on for the first time. But again, for the students, the benefit is they can take these courses from wherever they're at. And I mentioned at the beginning about the BESP program. It stands for Building Energy System Professional. And that program is right now being taken out to 6 colleges in our region. And then we have 3 more that are joining for that program. So basically they're adopting the courses and the program. It's kind of an umbrella program. We have 17 certificates in the program that are related to anything to do with building an energy, building a building, and then anything has to do with getting towards zero net energy on that building. So some of the benefits that I'm saying is that these programs that we have online gives them at least an entry to our main program. So they can start off, basically distance ed, and then eventually come to the campus to finish up. And by doing it throughout our region, our students aren't locked into just going to COD. Eventually, as this builds out, they'll be able to go anywhere in our region. And the big picture is for this to go throughout the state of California. So at a certain point, they'll be able to join this DESP program from wherever they're at. And even if they didn't finish at one college, if they got a job that took them to another area, they can finish up in that area. So, some of the other programs that we just finished up in the spring was the ACT, the Applied Construction Technology. And in that program, we're partnered up with the Carpenters Union. And basically, we're launching our first classes for that at a high school that we're partnered up with that's in Indio. And that high school, we have students in the high school. It's not going to be dual enrollment. It's going to be concurrent enrollment. So we can have some of the college students and the high school students in the same location. And it's after the bell, so that it's considered to be concurrent enrollment. And so the benefit we see there is by partnering up with the Carpenters Union, as we're building out the ESP program, we'll be able to offer this at many different colleges. Now, on the ACT, we have both credit and non-credit. And again, the benefit of the non-credit is some people want to get into this field, but they don't necessarily need a degree or want to pursue that, or maybe they already have a degree. They can take the non-credit for free, which is really beneficial. So I'm gonna stop there and ask if anybody has any questions that I can address.
George, we're going to hold all questions till the very end. So
Okay.
you do have a good minute left if you'd like to wrap anything up.
Yeah, so I'll wrap up the big picture here. So like I said, when we developed the BESP, the Building Energy System Professional, we started this about 6 years ago. And the reason for this was, my background's HVAC, heating, ventilating, air conditioning. But what I realized is we have some really great equipment coming out, very high efficiency, stuff that meets zero net energy. But if you have a building that's not designed right, or you don't retrofit that building, you can put the best equipment in it, but if you have holes in the wall, it's not going to perform. So what we realized is we needed to work on the building side of it and anything that had to do with the building side of it. So our goal was to retrain the future workforce that are building houses, small commercial, even into commercial. And so the BESP program kind of grew out of that. And we actually worked with several different departments, architecture, with construction, energy, HVAC, building inspection, all these different programs. And we created an umbrella program. So our core classes are geared towards basically soft skills and things that every industry partner said they needed. So they kind of bridge over all the different jobs. But then our specialties are certificates that are electives, and they can choose which certificates work for the area they're interested in. And the beauty of it is they can come back and they're stackable, so they can come back and take another couple classes and re-steer their career. And when I started teaching HVAC, it was kind of a disappointing situation because I'd have really good students that get out on the field, that burn out, and then all of a sudden I'd see them at a Thrifty's ice cream and going, "What are you doing here?" Well, the HVAC thing didn't work out for me. And so I decided to do something else. Well, now we have the ability to say, hey, we get it. If it doesn't work out for you, come back, take a couple classes. We'll help you get into a different career that relates to what you learned. So the beauty of it is it works with them for the long term.
Thank you, George. If others don't have a question for you, I know I have one, so I hope you can hang on till the Q&A point.
I'll hang out. I'm parked here for a while waiting for AAA.
Thank you. And as Lene shared, you couldn't see, it's ironic that you are experiencing a technology problem when today's topic is technology. Anyway, enough said. So yes, moving on to Foothill College's Pike Trades program. Lene, it's your turn. On mute, yeah.
Sorry, talking away. We're approaching this from a little bit different of a place. We wanted to talk about kind of how we shifted under COVID. So first, let me tell you that The program that we had originally set up for our Pathways grant was to design 11 new courses for 2 certificates in cloud computing and in digital marketing, and then to redesign faculty and student onboarding for online modalities so that there would be as robust online onboarding as there was face-to-face onboarding. And then we were going to review 20 courses for quality. So what we did is hired an experienced instructional designer who had worked in technical fields before. We wanted her to be perfectly positioned to be able to help people in our computer science department and in our digital marketing. And through that process, we trained her in the CVC OEI rubric, and we also, onboarded her to our particular work experience. And so as part of that, we began to revising our Canvas training for all of our instructors. And then we also, as an online learning team, developed an agile process. And so we were really looking at how software engineers and other fields were rapidly being able to shift to meet the needs of different people that they were serving, clients, other constituents in their organizations. And so we were really interested in that. And because of that, it poised us perfectly. It's the silver lining to COVID because we were able to rapidly turn and use the infrastructure that we had built through the grant process to work with our people over in pipe trades in the apprenticeship program. So I'm going to hand over the baton to one of the people that we were collaborating with there. So Brian?
Yes, hello, my name is Brian Murphy. I'm the training coordinator here at the Pipe Trades Training Program. We're an apprenticeship program in the Santa Clara County, and we have over 400 apprentices in plumbing, pipe fitting, HVAC, and welding. When COVID hit back in March, our programs got shut down just like everyone else's. And so, we looked at this as how we can create something long-term that not is just going to get us through COVID, but is going to present our programs with, an ability that we didn't have before, and that was online classes. We didn't have any of our classes online because we are a hands-on, technical program. And so I had reached out to Foothill College because they're our LEA, our partner, and Lene was very excited to help me and help my team out. And so that graphic designer that she was speaking of was a lady by the name of Jamie Lopez. So Jamie was assigned to me and my team. I think that happened in April. So we spent about 6 weeks preparing that Canvas training for, I had 28 instructors that I wanted to get onboarded through Foothill College. So we got them all into the Foothill College instructors and designed a Canvas training course for my instructors. Our training began in July and it ran all the way to October when our courses began to go live. The transition we made was absolutely incredible, and we could not have done it without the support of Foothill College. And now we have a program here for our training center that moving forward, we have the ability to offer the majority of our courses online. There's still classes that we have to do like welding and brazing and that sort of stuff in person labs. But we've now provided an opportunity for our students and our instructors to not have to come to class after a hard day's work. If there's a lesson they can be taught online, those folks now have the opportunity to go home and be with their families and still have that same amount of learning. So the transition was tremendous. We couldn't have done it without the help of Lene. Pretty much at the end of our training, I know that the grant money that Lene had for Jamie and ran out. So, we actually ended up hiring her on our own dime, and we're using Jamie now to complete our courses. In a matter of 3 months, we were able to get everything up and running, but they're not completely developed. And so now we have Jamie on board with us to finish out the development for the rest of our courses for online. So now Foothill College does have a number of apprenticeship programs, and our program was kind of leading the way in this. And now that we've kind of laid the groundwork, there's a multitude of other programs that are going to be kind of heading down the same path. So they're going to need the support of Lenny and Foothill to do.
Thanks, Brian. So we're just like really excited about the fact that we had the first, 6 months, 7 months of the grant, that we were putting these other things in place. And it allowed us to be kind of ready for supporting the larger campus. And so we're, just really grateful for that initial foundation that allowed us to be able to quickly shift to supporting Brian and others like Brian. And that team was amazing to work with. So
Thank you, Lene and Foothill. And Lene, I think you had one question in the chat to Brad. How did you design your classrooms? She's very interested in the mics in the ceiling.
Thanks for asking. We have instructional technology folks on campus. We wanted a blended, we wanted a classroom where we have students that are in the class and then students that are logging in from dealerships that are online. And so it's blended. So we have our traditional face-to-face students and our distance ed students in a synchronous situation because of the project-based lectures. So we didn't want the people to have to be mic'd. So we put in embedded mics in the ceilings. You can get them. They're about, I think it's about $4,000. And it's like it has 8 microphones that are, you can adjust the frequency reception of each microphone in this like big it looks like a ceiling light, but it's actually a microphone, like a ceiling panel. So there's nothing hanging down, it's just all embedded.
Yeah,
I've
been in a room like that, and it's pretty incredible for simulcast and that kind of thing. We might have room for one more question, and actually comes from me. This particular area, the area of technology and trades, has 2 interesting challenges. One, it's usually hands-on. There's something hands-on going on that is best learned in the presence of a master teacher. But 2, you have the challenge of knowing that this particular audience could benefit by as much online as possible. So were any of you able to leverage online simulations or videos to reduce the amount of time in the lab and or make it more efficient? Yeah, I see Brian raising his hand.
Yeah, actually, we were able to with Canvas. I mean, just the way that software is set up with studio videos and being able to add video content. Our welding instructor actually spent 5 nights. He actually chose to have his program or his class run for 5 nights online before he brought them into the weld shop. And he had them watching videos and taking quizzes and learning a bunch of stuff that they actually wouldn't have necessarily learned by just coming into the weld shop and start burning pipe. So he was super excited, and he plans on using that same class moving forward.
Well, that's a fantastic opportunity. I think COVID, Lene pointed to some of the silver linings. The certification agencies, I believe, are learning that, oh, hey, wait, some of this can be learned online via simulations and videos, and reduce the intensive time, which is teacher-student hands-on, which is such a important yet challenging part of these type of trade tech programs. I want to thank all 4 colleges for presenting this, our 3rd in the series. And for the following, I would suggest you go to our website at cbc.edu and our IOP grant link to sign up for future sessions we'll have next week. And if you have any further questions on this topic, please send them to grants@cbc.edu, and we'll talk to the various presenters and get you an answer to your question. Thank you very much, and have a great rest of your afternoon. Bye now.